It is 10:06, 7:06 in Las Vegas, but my king is not there. I don't know what the time is in Singapore, but anyway, Mike will not be with us, but Charles Moskowitz and I are going to hold down the fort here, and boy, I'll tell you, what a day it has been already. Dow Jones is up almost 36 points to 15,557, and S&P's up, and NASDAQ is up, and there we go, Charles. Off we go again, right?
Hopefully.
Yep.
There are people coming out of the woodwork now talking about, yesterday there was a guy who was calling for 5,000 before 20,000.
Yeah.
And he's, somewhat of an idiot. But,
somewhat?
That's he actually even admitted that he just wanted to get the information out there.
Oh, okay.
Because the guy who came on opposite him had a very interesting thesis and said, yeah, that could happen. But first, in order to have that kind of a market, you'd have to have a dramatic bubble, which is questionable. But beyond that, you would also have to have all of the retail investors involved. And coincidentally, yesterday morning, there was a report on the number of retail investors involved, and it's the lowest level in 25 years. So, this guy used to worked for Goldman Sachs for a little while, and then he worked for Acadia Funds for a little while, and now he's a professor at something called Chapman University.
For a little while,
and
I thought that was a sailing school.
Without insulting any of your audience, I'm reminded of the saying, "Those who can't teach."
Okay, for us laymen, what do you mean by the retail investor? I think I know what you mean.
Individuals, the mom and pop stuff.
Okay,
and not. I mean, everybody's involved. I mean, when you really think about it,
right?
Because of the 401ks and at work and the mutual funds that they may have a little piece of, which is invested across the broad market. But we're talking about when J. Pierpont Morgan gets his shoe shined and the shoe shine guy gives him a tip.
Right.
Everybody involved.
Yeah.
And involved in individual stocks and stuff. So that's who the retail investor is.
Gotcha. Just off the Fox Business Wire, apparently Merck unveiled its adjusted second quarter profit of 84 cents a share, beating estimates by uno penny.
Right.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is that they missed on the top line, which has been my complaint continuously.
Mm-hmm.
That beating lowered expectations is not terribly impressive because a lot of that gets done through layoffs and financial engineering, and you can only go so far with that. And then you need your revenues to grow. And the hit on Merck was that their revenues came in a little light, and their forward look for the year was a little under what the street was expecting. So the stock isn't really doing much, but Merck isn't what's HLF. The Ackman stock. My mind's a blank.
That's all right.
Yeah, but we have a lot of companies beating top and bottom, but they tend to be the smaller companies, the ones that don't have exposure to currencies. The ones that are centered really in the Russell 2000.
Right.
Russell 2000 is primarily small cap companies, and they don't have exposure to Europe, and they don't
Right.
have exposure, to to the currency issues, and so those tend to do a little bit better. And Facebook is over $36 again for the first time since it went through it to the downside after the IPO.
I have resisted for so long, and Cliff Desmond, who does our web stuff here, can tell you, I have fought getting a station Facebook page. Went up yesterday. We had 30 likes within maybe 2 hours. And it's
and you know what?
It's so amazing. It's like I'm sitting here going, "Good God!" It's incredible. But
another issue near and dear to your heart, I'm assuming, was the just under $1 billion uh, of TV stations by Sinclair Broadcasting.
Yeah, our next door neighbor, and of course our television partner, CBS 12, is owned by Sinclair in the West Palm television market, which I'm sure is one of the smallest markets that they've got. But yeah, they just gobbled up
$985 million. I saw.
Yeah, Al Britton, which is an old-time broadcast family, I guess, and it's the parents and grandparents have all gone away now, and so now I guess it's time to sell the company. And Sinclair's going crazy. They are absolutely going nuts. $985 million pocket change. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, we're gonna have a little news concerning 12 very, very soon, and we'll break it on this show here. Hey, switching gears to home stuff. The home prices in the 20 major U.S. markets climbed mammoth 2.4%, which actually, hey, not bad, if you think about it. So congratulations to the
John Munn.
Hey.
Hi, John. Charles and Greg.
Hi. Hi, Charles.
John,
how are you doing?
John is the director of operations for a company called Medifocus, which we had on a couple of months ago.
Yep.
And they have a very exciting technology for treating cancer. So I'm just going to turn it over to John so that he can give us an update on what the company is doing.
Sure. Thanks, Charles. Medifocus, as your listeners may or may not know, we develop and commercialize minimum invasive focus heat technologies for the treatment of cancer and other diseases. We have two very large platform technologies that are fully developed. The first one we call Endo-thermotherapy, which give us the ability to deliver focused heat by way of natural body orifices such as the rectum, the prostate, the esophageal. Using this technology, we have a commercial product, FDA approved, named the ProLeave technology. We recently acquired this technology from Boston Scientific last year. It's a very large market for the treatment of benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is the enlargement of the male's prostate gland. This affects over 50% of all men over the age of 50.
Wow,
to
John,
some degree.
Pardon me for interrupting you, but that was almost exactly to the day, as a matter of fact, that you acquired them on July 25th of last year. So you've had them for exactly a year. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, I think since you brought that up, we acquired them from Boston Scientific under an asset purchase. So the company, this is a major game changer for Medifocus in that prior to that, we had great technologies going through clinical studies as many companies do. The biggest thing for all companies like us is revenue. When are we going to really start deriving revenue? Instantly after we acquired the ProLeave from Boston, from virtually zero sales of the product through Boston, the first quarter we actually generated with a very minimal staff of only 2 people, $300,000. I know that doesn't sound like, but it went from zero, and with minimum amount of sales force from here, it went to $300,000. So that shows that this product is the best of kind. Thereafter, every quarter since that time, we have significantly increased revenue. The first quarter after, the second quarter after the first, we increased from 300 to over 600,000. So 100% increase in revenue.
Yeah, you double.
And the third,
wow.
double, absolutely.
Wow.
And then the third quarter, we increased it again to over 800,000. So in 3 quarters, we're showing increase in revenue. We're getting a lot of momentum out there. And we fully expect that every quarter here on out, we will be deriving increase in revenue to a point that we, based on our current expenditures, we believe that by early next year, we may be in a position to be cash flow positive.
And John, my recollection is that Boston Scientific bought this and then threw about $50 million in development cost, as well as putting together a sales team, and that, I guess they had a change in attitude as to the direction that they wanted to go. And so they unloaded this, but this was really a steal. I mean, this was an incredible bargain.
Yeah, let me comment. It's really a game changer for us, and it's I hate to use the word, as you just said, a steal, but actually the people here at MediFocus Inc., we originally came from another public company named Celsion Corporation.
Right, and Celsion was using it as a liposome, I think they were talking about.
Well, yeah, the key is that we developed the technology, the ProLeave, at Celsion, the key management people here.
Right.
Boston Scientific actually purchased the technology from Celsion for probably, I'm trying to recall the number, it's been a little while, $60 million, right. To which, as you know, it costs a lot of money just to buy the technology, but to actually commercialize it by way of manufacturing, sales, marketing. So we estimate that the total expenditure that Boston probably invested was over $100 million.
Wow.
Now you're talking about what I call not a steal of a lifetime. I don't like to use that word, but in reality...
Not really a good one in the financial industry.
Yeah. But the key is we purchased the technology, entire ProLeave platform from Boston for $5 million.
Wow.
Yep.
That's right. 95% discount to market of what they spent. Now, what that meant was that instantly, after we went through the technology transfer and all the requirement, the regulatory, the FDA updates, and all the other responsibility and the quality systems, we have a product that we're able to instantly sell because there's a ready market that's already out there that had been ProLeave users.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think I might have mentioned this the last time that we had the company on, but I was very excited with it when it was just part of Celsion. In fact, I was the person who introduced Celsion to the American Stock Exchange for its initial move from NASDAQ.
Oh,
that's got to be 10
okay.
years ago. So
yeah,
I've been involved in understanding the technology and its ability to grow, which I think is really exceptional. And now we have a company that, frankly, couldn't have invested the kind of money that was invested to as you said, commercialize the product.
Right. I think the key there is you're absolutely right. At Celsion, we could have never brought this technology out to the urologists like Boston Scientific. It was just a great opportunity for us to get it back. But the key is that the business model is the razor blade. Boston has already placed several hundred of these machines out throughout the U.S., as well as a nationwide mobile operation system that provide a turnkey operation. The turnkey mobile operation was also acquired and fully owned now by Medifocus. That was part of the asset purchase. But the key is every time the user, the urologist, treat a patient, they need to come back to Medifocus to purchase the disposable single-use treatment kit. So we derive revenue on an ongoing recurrent basis every time they use the machine. We're just out there going back, recontacting the urologists who already have the system, which, as you know, costs tremendous amount of money just to get the systems to the urologist. It's already been invested by Boston Scientific, so we have a ready market, and that's why we believe we're able to grow the technology rapidly with minimal cost.
Now, John, did you also buy the machine technology, or did that stay with Boston Scientific?
No, absolutely. We got everything.
Wow.
Not only as I mentioned, the core people here, the engineers, myself, went through the clinicals. The personnel here, Dr. Chung, the CEO of the company, we actually know more about the system than Boston Scientific. We actually trained them how to use it. So it's a natural fit for us. But as part of the asset purchase, we receive everything lock, stock, and barrel without any liabilities. In addition, there were over 50 patents that encompasses the endo-thermotherapy of ProLeaf technology that also was transferred over to us. So in combination of the 50 patents that we acquired through the asset purchase, the company Medifocus already owns 50 patents for our breast cancer technology. We haven't even begun for me to talk to you and your listeners about the exciting technology of our breast cancer technology.
That's the APA microwave system?
Yes. If I can spend a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we're going to run short of time. So, but say what talk
well, that's
about.
all right, John.
Like.
It depends on you. If you've got a little bit more time.
Okay. Well,
go ahead.
Let me. It's just exciting that all the technology we have is truly exciting. The platform technology I talked about with the endothermotherapy was ProLeaf. Now, the APA adaptive phase array technology is a platform technology that we originally licensed from MIT. They developed the adaptive phase array that was used in Star Wars to be able to focus microwave on enemy missiles and destroy it. We use the same targeting technology now to target microwaves from outside the body to the tumor site. We built a fully clinical system for the treatment of breast cancer, to which phase 1, phase 2, two small randomized study has already been completed, and both FDA and Health Canada has approved Medifocus to begin a pivotal phase 3 study for the treatment of breast cancer. So you know how large the market for breast cancer is.
And sure.
Basically, we have a phase 3 clinical study for the treatment of breast cancer. We believe that there's no doubt when we grow the ProLeaf revenue, we will be primed to be able to add an additional commercial unit near term for breast cancer.
So now, how I presume cancer centers would go crazy over your microwave system. When will that be ready for market? I mean, how many of these phase studies do you have to go through?
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about. All the hard work has already been done successfully.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Phase 1 preclinicals, phase 1, phase 2 dose, 2 small randomized study. We're been approved by FDA and Health Canada for the final pivotal study for breast cancer. So we're in a final phase before commercialization. So upon completion of that, if the safety and efficacy and the endpoints are statistically met, we believe we can commercialize the breast cancer system.
Wow, Charles, it sounds like a lot's changed in this little company since we talked to him last year.
John, my understanding is that there are some things going on that you can't talk about, but I think you can certainly address the issue of, how you're going to finance this by virtue of, the agreement that you just signed with Maxim.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Right now, our company, Medifocus, trade both on the Canadian Venture Exchange and the OTCQX. And we originally, because we were in Canada, it's a very limited exposure for us for healthcare. As you know, for Toronto, most of the stocks there, you're talking about gold, silver, natural resources. There was very, very limited exposure and interest for companies like us with great technology in the healthcare biotech arena. So we believe that in order to really get the full value of Medifocus out, we had to get into the capital markets, and we recently signed a agreement with the Maxim Group. As you probably know, Maxim Group is a very well-respected investment banking firm in the U.S. and has global reaches. So they are going to guide us in the capital markets, and they don't take on anyone. They really like our technology. They did due diligence on us, and they believe that they can help us in the capital markets and bring our technology and the company out. So we're very happy with the ability to engage the Maxim Group.
Boy, that's great news. The one downside to your company, John, I have to tell you, is you're not associated with any well-known educational institutes. I mean, MIT, nice little commuter school in Boston, but no, I'm just kidding. It's, my goodness, your MIT ties, your Oklahoma University ties, holy smokes, that's phenomenal. I think.
We feel we will be getting more and more of these ties as we move the company forward. Dr. Dooley is our principal investigator at the University of Oklahoma Breast Center. He was head of breast surgery at Johns Hopkins for 15 years prior to going there. So we definitely have some very top-notch breast surgeons there. In our phase 1, phase 2 clinical studies, we also had additional very well-known breast surgeons. I think, what we're doing, and our first indication is to shrink these very large breast tumors that women have. The indication for these generally is a mastectomy. What we have is a very unique treatment that we give chemotherapy and heat prior to surgery with the intent to shrink the tumor. If it can shrink to a size small enough, then the patient can avoid getting a mastectomy and getting partial mastectomy or lumpectomy. So basically, if our technology really does what we expect it to do, we can dramatically reduce the need for mastectomies worldwide. Women will be able to preserve their breasts and get breast conservation surgery as opposed to a mastectomy. That's the first indication.
Which is really a giant issue when you look at the number of women who are now doing that gene test and doing preventative surgery, which has to be one of the hardest decisions you could possibly make. This would really be tremendous there.
Right. I think that the one thing that's unique about our technology for breast cancer, we designed it that this one system can treat potentially almost all types of breast cancer. That means early stage. We've done randomized studies to show that we can reduce positive margins, because you know that if you have positive margins after lumpectomy, the potential recurrent rate is significantly, maybe 7 times greater down the road. So what the surgeon needs is the ability to remove the tumor without having positive margins. In our clinical study, although it was very small randomized, we had 0 positive margins. That's very significant. And so potentially not only for large tumors, that same system could also treat early stage. You talked about preventive medicine. We have 50 patents that surround the breast cancer technology, and actually one of our technologies, the patent claims, is that we have focused heat that potentially can be used as a prophylactic treatment to prevent breast cancer. Of course, it's unproven yet, but we have the patents to support it.
All right. Well, Greg, do you know, is Mr. Rowe on with us yet?
I don't think so.
I'm on the phone with us.
Oh,
are you
okay.
there?
Sorry, I'm a few minutes.
Lawrence.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a few minutes late.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's
hold
okay.
on. Okay, so John, what I would like to do, since there's so much very exciting stuff going
have
on,
him back.
Maybe you can come back next Tuesday morning. You can discuss whatever that press release is, and I'll be in touch with you over the phone. You want to, just before you get off, give the everybody needs to know that the symbol for the U.S. traded stock is MDF as in Frank, Z as in zebra, F. And that's for here in the U.S. The stock traded primarily in Canada. And you want to just give the website address so that people can go there and
yes,
see what...
it's just medifocusinc.com. But as you said, we're traded on 2 exchanges. The Toronto venture firm is symbol
MFS.V,
MFS. Yeah, just MFS. And in the U.S., of course, as you said, is MDFZF. And you can find all that information on our Medifocus Inc.
Yeah,
and I'll give you a call after the show, and we can set that up for next week.
Yeah, that sounds
great.
John,
Great.
you've got
Thanks, John. Thanks for the update.
Great website, too. Great website.
And Mr. Rowe.
Wow. Now let's go from, let's see. The only problem, Charles, is they've got one treatment for guys, one treatment for women. So what's their audience out there? Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah. Now we go to oil. Oh, my.
Well, hey,
Holy smokes. Oh, so what's going on in Australia/Texas?
You know what? This is Casey.
Oh, Casey.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was a few minutes late today. I got held up with some software.
Oh, that's okay.
Issues.
Oh, that's.
But Mike mentioned that Mr. Rowe from Diamond was calling in today, so I was really looking forward to chatting with him.
Yeah.
As well.
Well,
great business.
So was I. Well, Casey, this is the first time we've talked to you since the ESPN shoot. We were wondering if you were still alive. Just curious. I mean,
you know what?
I listen to him, Charles. He's starting to get nervous here. Oh,
That was since I got a couple of minutes to kill before he calls in. That was an interesting trip. I landed at JFK, hopped into a cab. The cab driver was fresh off the boat from Pakistan. It was his second day driving a cab. He was supposed to take me from the airport to the studio, which was, according to MapQuest, was about a 4-mile drive. I started to see signs saying "Welcome to Connecticut." I was like, I'm like, my friend, we are going in the wrong direction.
Oh, so I love it.
I ended up pulling it up on my phone GPS to give him directions. So it took us what could have been a 4-mile drive. Took us about an hour.
Yeah, but
I had the same experience. You'll love this. I was in New York working, and a bunch of my friends from up here in Boston wanted to go to the last Red Sox game at the old Yankee Stadium. So it's a couple of years ago. And you would think you could get into a cab anywhere in New York and say, "Take me to Yankee Stadium," and it wouldn't be an issue.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up on the Bruckner Expressway, and when I saw the sign that said New England and New Haven, I said, "You're kidding, right?" Turn off the meter, and I did exactly the same thing as you. I went on my phone, on the GPS. I mean, there were just certain... Your guy was probably trained to take the long way. But my guy, I mean, how do you drive a cab in Manhattan and not know how to get to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx?
Unbelievable.
And you know, I told him the same thing. I was like, I appreciate your second day. I'm not going to pay you for this tour of New York and Connecticut. So he killed the meter. He finally got me there. We did the shoot. The girl was obviously beautiful, looks great. Couldn't read, so it took us about 4 hours to get 2 lines out of her. But at the end of the day, we finally were able to struggle through it. Got back to the airport, was heading back to Tampa. We were on final approach to Tampa. As I'm thinking the wheels are getting ready to hit the ground, he pulls the nose up, hits the gas. We go shooting up into the clouds, and I'm like, this is just about perfect. So about 5 minutes later, the captain came on the loudspeaker, and he says, I'm really sorry about this. He goes, we were getting ready to land, and it's raining so hard out, I couldn't see the runway. Made me a little bit nervous. So we went around, and we were climbing back out, and then we realized that we're running out of gas. So we're heading down to Fort Myers so that we can get some gas.
The good news is I couldn't land, and I got the nose of the plane up, and we're going around. The bad news is we can't go very far.
The real good news is the water.
We can't go very far, and he couldn't.
Yep.
So, we had to go down to Fort Myers and spend a little bit of time at Fort Myers. It was a very long day.
But think of it this way, Casey. The water in the Gulf is warm, so if he had to put it down... you just
it's not like going down in the Hudson in the middle of the winter.
Exactly, and it just kind of view it as a vacation in Sanibel or something. It's oh my God, what a trip!
Where's our buddy from Texan?
I don't know. It's
I could have kept John Munn on.
Yeah. Well, it looks like maybe because oil is down by 75 cents, he didn't want to talk to us.
Yeah,
that's possible.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
$10.
I'm actually kind of sure that, like a lot of the other oil companies, their lift price is substantially lower.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
I mean, if they can certainly make it up here at 104, but I'm guessing they can also make money at 85. So.
Well, did you guys see this story? It was on CNBC yesterday with Samsung, where their profits for the smartphones, right? The new 4 and stuff like that, just up 50%, 50%, and they get ripped because it was only 7.7 trillion won. There you go. Which is actually $7 billion. Only $7 billion. You got to be kidding. What do they want out of that company?
Well, look at what the stock has done. I mean, the stock is up so big. Here, this is the problem with sell-side analysts. And just so you understand, sell-side, what I mean by that is the guys who write, who do the analysis and write the research reports that are distributed specifically by the retail brokerage firms. The problem is that in order to justify new price targets,
right,
they extrapolate out 2, 3, 4 years. And so, people say, oh, well, they only missed by a penny, or, they came in ahead. Well, if the street was looking for, if the whisper number, or what analysts really expect, because clearly they manage expectations too, they look like geniuses when the number comes in over their number, and of course they've adjusted their number down so that it does. But what happens is, if you miss by a penny in a quarter, or you only come close to but not hit the whisper number even though the published numbers are a beat, then they take that from the quarter and they extrapolate it out for the rest of the year. And then they extrapolate it out for next year, and then they extrapolate it out for the year after, in order to continue to maintain the positions, because nobody wants to put in a sell. Look at the market. We've had everything but the kitchen sink thrown at this market, and here we are, within 1% or 2% of the highs, of the new highs, all-time new highs. And so, when you take that penny and, you reverse engineer what their price targets are and the rationalization for those, then miss by a penny with slightly lower revenues than expected, they just kill these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Fed deals with interest rates, and everybody is attuned to the Fed funds rate and the short-term T-bill rate. Well, as you go further out the yield curve, it gets magnified as to the effect. So a quarter of a point in the Fed funds rate might translate into 1.5 in the 30-year.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's part of the issue for companies like Samsung. Coach beat and, had crappy expectations, and the stock is down $5, which, by the way, is about 10%.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to see on the cell phones, of the roughly 5.3 billion cell phones worldwide, Nokia is the dominant leader, because
in Europe,
the smartphones, which we all enjoy, are not subsidized throughout most of the world. So most of the world can't afford them. So you're looking at Apple and Samsung, which combined have less of a number of handheld units that Nokia has.
Yeah, Nokia is huge.
You gotta wonder why they don't hit that market.
They're huge.
What's interesting about the new Nokia phone that they're advertising to death on TV is it's not a phone with a camera. It's a camera with a phone.
A camera with a phone. Yep. I saw that.
41 megapixel.
Yeah. Well,
with a zoom.
We're getting close, guys, to my tablet having a little phone chip. I was reading on that Nexus. Did you guys see that, where they're investigating the possibility of maybe putting a phone chip in there? And guess what? Bingo! You've got.
But they're kind of heavy. I wouldn't carry. It would be nice to have the phone involved with my iPad, but I can't carry my iPad around, to go grocery shopping. It may be great to have. It may be great to have a shopping list on my iPad, but now my wife tells me what we need, and I go, and I get called from the, from home while I'm in the grocery store, or I have to call to get some specific information about, well, do you want the pitted olives or do you want the but you can't really do. You're going to do that with an iPad.
Charles, you're going to be able to download that stuff on your glasses soon.
I know.
It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Wait, has everybody here seen the Saturday Night Live weekend update?
Oh no!
With one of the guys doing, supposedly having on the Google glasses and, flailing his head around and saying, "Oh yeah, all I have to do is this," and and certainly nobody notices, and the guy is going through such contortions to, go back a page that, I mean, it's just hysterical.
Yeah, well, that's Saturday Night Live. Hey, yesterday, what was the some natural product that was going through the roof? Big news on CNBC yesterday. What was it? Nature something or other?
Oh,
I don't know what it was.
Herbalife.
Herbalife.
Yeah, it's Herbalife.
Yeah, they beat, and that's the one I was trying to remember, by the way, Greg.
Okay.
Earlier when we were on the phone with John. Herbalife beat, and what is, of course, the main driving force there is the size of the short position. The Ackman Icon, duel. Yeah, right, exactly. By the way, this is just an aside, and I saw Carl Icahn on CNBC, a great interview. I think it was with David Faber at their big, $5,000 admission fee, Creating Alpha, or Creating Alpha, their conference. Why does Carl Icahn think he can use a picture of himself that's 30 years old every time they talk about him?
Well, does it have a pirate mask on it?
But I'm telling you, you look at it, and it's absolutely... I thought it was 20 years old. And then I saw him in person, and I decided, 30 is probably closer to it.
See, he's taking some of Casey's stuff. That's what the deal is. He's taking
perhaps in the past, you've probably heard that I have been somewhat, condescending to the industry and discussing how.
Well, no, the reality of it is the reality of it.
You're in the industry. You should know that.
They had an article in USA Today last Thursday. It was USA Today, national publication, a company called Driven Sports, and the founder of it, Matt Cahill, and how this is just one in so many stories in this industry. Lacing products with steroids. This guy Cahill just got out of jail he was mixing rat poison with something as a weight loss product.
Yeah.
Went to jail. While in jail, was marketing another supplement.
Very cool.
There's just so many stories. It's a terrible industry. You got to be so careful on what you take.
Why are you in it? I just can't.
Because that's our value proposition. That's why we're linked and tied to Rutgers University. We're one of the very, very few that are above board. And if you don't want to take rat poison, come visit us. Mr. Cahill would be your man.
Is that your commercial?
I'm canning the girl. We're using that.
That's. Oh my God. Oh man. Oh, I better call our lawyer here. No. And that's amazing. That is just absolutely amazing. Although I would imagine you take enough rat poison, you will lose some weight.
Sadly, there was died.
There was a TV show, and I can't remember what it was, but they were talking about the Mexican diet.
Yes.
And the Mexican diet is they take a tapeworm, larva from a tapeworm, and put it inside a capsule.
Oh, no.
And you take it, and it continues to grow, and then you kill it and have it removed, and you've lost, 20 pounds.
Oh, God.
Think about that. I mean, how vain do you have to be to try that diet?
Oh, that's, little much.
Yeah.
Just go take a minor case of botulism and...
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Casey, I need to...
I keep some, week-old fish around just in case.
That's
just in case.
yeah, and you keep it on the hood of your car. Is that what the deal
Right,
is?
exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, Casey, going back to your shoot, let's talk about this actress. It's just she had a little difficult time getting. I presume you had 3 hours worth of copy for her, like two lines.
Yeah, you know what? I talked to her the day before, and I said, please read this. I said, I've been through so many shoots, and I know how it looks so easy, just read a couple of lines or remember a couple of lines. I said, but it's not. Just please read it, be familiar with it. Well, we showed up, and of course she hadn't. So it was, the first 3 hours were excruciatingly painful. But we were able to get it out of her.
There you go.
And she looked fantastic. I mean, I think it's in post-production right now. We should be done on the 7th. So I'll post a link when we are ready. But yeah, I think at the end of the day it's going to be phenomenal. But it started out rough, turned out pretty good.
It's like,
you could always dub it.
It's like a lot of television projects, man. It can be really, really painful. But if you've got a good editor, that's the old.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
That's the old fix it in post. Just fix it in post. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. But so the news today seems to be Larry Summers. This guy doesn't go away. I mean, now the president is talking about having Larry Summers take over the Fed. It's, well, okay.
This is I think, you have to put this all in perspective. I'm going to guess that they're going to trial balloon, 16 people before they decide, before they get one that the public likes, that the market likes. I shouldn't say the public.
Yeah, I just, I'm amazed. He's been involved in so many incidents in his life, including the
he's one of those people that nobody really likes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's very abrasive.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe that's they're looking for. Well, in Washington, gee, you think?
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's, oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing. But anyway, that's I guess the big story on CNBC. Casey, are you into all the web TV stuff that we're eventually going to be getting into, and this new Google thing, this Google?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it's really, really good idea. I can understand why they had to stop sales after one day.
Yep, they call it Chromecast. It's $35. They're saying it could be the Apple killer. I mean, of course, everybody, as you say, Charles, everybody seems to dislike Apple for one reason or another. I mean, it's.
And yet the stock is acting really well again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's back to the people buying it on dips, day trading it. It's really interesting the way that it has now, how it is now kind of switched, where what you see is people buying it, day traders. You can day trade in most of these accounts. You can day trade 3 times your equity. And so you get people who really shouldn't be trading, 1,000, 2,000 shares of the stock. Trading $1 million worth of stock on a day trade, and you see the same pattern every day. If it opens down, they buy it. If it opens up and pulls back, they buy it. If it opens and looks like it's going to run, they buy it. And then between 345, 350, and 430 in the aftermarket, you see the liquidation of it. And they, it's like they start to take it down. The bids disappear right around that 350, 355 time, and all the day traders sell it, and then, it comes roaring back. I have a friend of mine who is an ex-Merrill Lynch asset management guy who does it every day.
Wow.
And, the fact that it's attracting that kind of attention, it's the stock can have a 10 or 15 point range literally every single day and not be all that unusual.
Wow.
On a $450 stock, that's a 3% range for the day.
Sure.
And so, you see that all the time in a lot of the big name stocks. I mean, you see it in some of the small ones. And so, people are really, they can only hate it so long.
Mm-hmm. Well, Casey, how's your stock doing?
You know what? I don't even honestly watch it. I have no idea. But we're not pump and dump. We don't. I worry about the business and let the business take care of the stock.
There you go.
As far as the business goes, things are strong. We're rolling out with the SEAL teams at the end of August. They contact me literally on a daily basis for an update when they're going to get product. They're just beside themselves, which makes me beside myself.
Yeah.
So they're very excited to start rolling that out. Got the as we mentioned, have the commercial in the can. That's in post production right now. So over the next month it should be pretty interesting.
That sounds great. Good stuff. I mean, it's you are in a very very interesting arena, to say the least. And
I just laugh every time I see these stories about products laced with rat poisoning and with steroids and everything, because it brings so much more validity to us, and how we approach the business so differently than the rest of the world.
Yeah, but just think about it though. It's just another alternative source of revenue for Terminex and Orkin.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it that way, guys. I mean,
or frankly, for DuPont.
That's oh God, that's yeah.
Well, this put the FDA on its heels too, because now the FDA has sort of come to the defense when the USA article was saying, how can this guy be put in jail for fraud, for supplement fraud, and while in jail create a new product and sell it?
Right.
Where's the FDA in all of this?
Oh, yeah.
They've kind of come to the defense saying, we've got plenty of enforcement. And we're keeping an eye on things. Well, I don't know. Are they or not? I really think there should be some sort of a regulatory. There really needs to be some laws.
I would say so. Well, Charles, we'll talk to you next week. Casey, you going to be around next week as well?
I will.
Okay, good. And I think Mike will still be over in Singapore in his brand new office. So, Charles, Casey, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. You're listening to Money Info, brought to you by Princeton Research. Take a look at the newsletter, Charles's conference call on Wednesday, and, of course, Charles's texting service as well. You're listening to WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.